Hey, it's your boy Kai, and welcome to Kai Watches Gilmore Girls, the show where I break down Gilmore Girls because I am watching it for the very first time. My friends, today we're going to be breaking down Season 5, Episode 6. It is entitled Norman Mailer, I'm Pregnant, which kind of turns out to be a little bit of a spoiler, but I guess they decided that that's what they were going to name the episode. I guess it is what it is. But that said, my friends, if you enjoy the video that you're watching today, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Get notified anytime that I post a video here on YouTube. I post here on YouTube before I post on TikTok and Instagram and all of those other platforms. So make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell. That way you can be notified anytime I post something. And if you want some Gilmore Girls gear, if you want some shirts, some bags, some hoodies. You know me, I'm all about that hoodie life. If you want all of that with some of your favorite Gilmore Girls phrases and moments, visit my website, thevibewithkai.com, and click on merchandise, and you're going to see it all there at a discounted price. If you are enjoying me just as a person, you can follow me on all of your favorite social media platforms. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at The Vibe with Kai, where I'm always posting things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. My friends, let's get down to business. Season 5, Episode 6, Norman Mailer, I'm Pregnant! The episode starts off, we see Lorelai and Luke trying to make their way over to the movies, but Lorelai has her own little routine that's going on over here, and she puts her socks in the oven to warm them up, I guess, when it's cold outside. And Luke is like, well, why don't you just put it in the dryer? To which she has a witty response to that whole situation. She is such a vibe. Lorelai is such a vibe because she's so like down to earth, but she's also eccentric at the same exact time, and it's actually really refreshing to watch, and that's why I love her. Season 4 and Season 5, Lorelai, like legit my favorite person in the world, and I want to marry her. Shout out to Mr. Doyle, and I can't remember this guy's name, the guy with the glasses, but the guy in the glasses, he got an article posted up in the New York Times, which makes Doyle and Rory, and they puts them in their fields because they're like, well, I want to be in the New York Times. How's this guy in the New York Times? Not me. That's what's going on here. So congratulations to him for doing what he does. Is his name Glenn? Is that his name? I really don't remember. I think it's Glenn. You got to let me know in the comments how wrong I am. So the title of the episode, this is the guy. On the right, that is Norman Mailer. And on the left, that is Norman Mailer's son. Now, he's not playing his son in this scene, but that is the real life Norman Mailer on the right, playing Norman Mailer. And the guy on the left that's interviewing him, that is his son, but he's not playing his son. He is playing a guy that is interviewing Norman Mailer. So that is the real life Norman Mailer. This aired in 2004, which means that it was filmed in I would say either 2003, 2004. But this aired in 2004. Norman Mailer ended up passing away in 2007, just in case you were curious about when he passed away. I've always was curious, how tall is Doyle? How tall is he? Because he looks teeny tiny here. Rory is just towering over this man. I don't know. Like I've obviously seen Doyle many times throughout this series, but I guess I never paid attention to his height. Not that it matters, like not that it says anything about him as a person or his character. I just thought it was very very interesting for that to happen. Is this your king? Mr. Logan coming in, looking all pretentious as always. Here he is wearing his turtleneck and his blazer, very Max-ish of you, very Jason slash Digger of you. This guy is pretentious. People really like him though, so I gotta see what it is about him that people love. So far, I mean, he's very pretentious. He's very pretentious. I'll get into that in a second. Poor Sookie in this episode. Sookie, which we'll get into why she's this way, but she is in a mood the entire time. She is in a mood. In a mood. And I mean, she can do what she wants to do, but I do want to give a shout out to the woman in the lower right hand corner that you see right now. That's Rebecca Metz. She grew up in Freehold, New Jersey, which is right up the street from where I grew up. I don't know why I know that, but that's Rebecca Metz, an actress, and she grew up right up the street from where I grew up. Fun fact of the day for you, Freehold, New Jersey, in the house. If you didn't have LimeWire or BearShare or Kazaa or Napster, if you didn't have that, or if you don't know even what that is, We can't be together. You gotta know what that is. You might be too young for me if you don't know what it is. Remember how we used to illegally download music? Now we can get music so easily. But back in the day, my friends, we had to download that stuff illegally and risk jail just so that we can listen to some Shaggy. We had to risk jail so we can listen to Millennium by Backstreet Boys. We had to risk jail so we can listen to Big Willie Style by Will Smith. That is what we had to do. We had to download that stuff from like pretty much the dark web of music. And we just risked it. We risked it all. We could have been downloading so many different viruses, but hey, we needed Hit Me Baby One More Time so we can add it to our Zune and our app and our iPods. I don't even know if iPods were out yet, but I remember I had a Zune. I had one of those old school iPods with the. Remember, you can't. If you look in the upper right hand corner, you'll see me. Remember, we had to do this. It was like the little circle thing. We had to like use our thumb to like. Remember that before the touch screens. You remember that? Man, I had those, and I put my music on there. Oh goodness gracious, you're taking me back. This thing was weird. What's not seen here is this woman on the right. She was wearing a gorilla mask because this is the introduction that we get to this secret society, which is at the university that Rory is now intrigued by. I'm sure we're going to learn more about that because she starts interrogating Mr. Logan about this at some point in the future. Can we give a shout out to Lorelai here? Look at her; she is adorable. Look at her wearing her get up here. She is so adorable, and I just when her and I get married, because it's gonna happen. When season 4/season 5, Lorelai and I get married, I need her to wear this because look how, or at least wear it to the reception, because look how gorgeous this woman is. Good lord, I am obsessed with her, and it's unhealthy. She gets a call from Christopher because Christopher is having some baby problems. You know why he's having baby problems? Because Shelly has decided that she's gonna just up and leave. She's just gonna go up and leave. She just decided this is too much for me. I'm going to leave to go to Paris. Good luck, Chris, with the baby. When I watched this episode live, people were saying that she was suffering from postpartum postpartum depression, which is I understand that, but that's a lot to just up and leave your baby. Leaving your husband is one thing, or leaving your significant other is one thing, but she just left the baby before he even got back. He was out on traveling for work, and then he comes back, and she is gone. And the sitter was there, I guess, and sitter was like, "Yeah, she freaking bounced." That's Shelly just is gone. Holy cow, that's not okay. So what does Chris do? He calls Lorelai. And I understand why he called her. I get it. He did. When you're desperate like this, you call the people that you trust. And he was desperate. I had a big discussion on my live about whether Chris is a good person or not, and whether Lorelai should have went there. And I don't see why she wouldn't go there. Like, he's not perfect. There's no character on the show that is perfect, by the way. And he's had his fair share of mistakes, right? But those of you that have been following me for a while, I've always been a fan of Chris. And I understand, he was definitely not the perfect father. He definitely isn't the perfect father by any means. But I don't hate Chris. I don't mind Chris at all. But I'm glad Lorelai was here to help him. Lorelai has always been there for him, and he's been there. He's been there. Well, I won't get into that right now, but Lorelai has always been there for him when he needed her the most, as adults. And so I'm happy that they're able to have this relationship with each other. I guess we'll get more into that in a second. This is a good time to remind you that I do have a podcast. It's called the Vibe with Kai podcast. Most recently, I've been interviewing a couple different actors from the show. I interviewed Shelley Cole, who played Madeline. That episode is up. This past week, I interviewed John Cabrera, who plays Brian on Gilmore Girls. I interviewed him recently. All of this stuff, if you want to watch it, you can watch it here on the YouTube, or you can type in The Vibe with Kai, and you can find it on Apple Podcasts, you can find it on Google Podcasts, or you can find it on Spotify. Type it in, and you're going to see you're going to be able to listen to the full interview. They dropped some really cool nuggets, these two. You'll also find an interview that I did with the wonderful Valerie Campbell, who is the key set costumer of Gilmore Girls. She worked on the show from season 1 all the way up through the revival, and she has a lot of backstage stories too. So go listen to my podcast. If you're a fan of Gilmore Girls, you definitely want to check this out because they give some really cool behind the scenes stuff that you may not have known. So let's talk about Kyrus and Lorelai. Okay, look, I'm going to say something here, and I said this in my live, and it kind of ruffled a few feathers, but I'm going to say it here. I like Kyrus and Lorelai together. I do. Now, before you cancel me and say, "Oh, Kai hates Luke," that's not true. Luke is my favorite character, and I do ship Luke and Lorelai. They've always been teasing that that they should be together, and now they're actually together, and that's fine. But I do enjoy when I see Lorelai and Kyrus together. I do. Like, I totally get that Kyrus is not the perfect father. He's not. He's definitely not. He has made some major mistakes. But I don't dislike him as a person. And whenever I see him and Lorelai together, I get it. Like, I just get it between those two. And so I do like the character of Kyrus. I know I'm gonna get, shit on for that, and that's okay. Like, it's just it's a fictional character. And is he perfect? No, but I do like him, and I like Lorelai with him. So we'll see where that goes. But I'll also use this moment to shout out the actor David Sutcliffe. David Sutcliffe. My birthday was this past week, and David Sutcliffe, the character on your screen, the guy that plays Kyrus. David Sutcliffe actually he sent me an incredibly sweet message saying happy birthday to me, and that he is looking forward to watching my recaps of Gilmore Girls. I thought that was very sweet. And I put up if you go to my TikTok, you'll be able to see clips of him. He left me like a 4-minute message, and I put up portions of that message up on the TikTok, so you can check it out there if you want to see what he said to me. But it was a very sweet message, and a lot of people, when I put it up, people are like, "Oh, but he's Republican," and I get it. He has some political standpoint. He has some political views that I may not personally agree with, but this isn't about politics. This is about my birthday. He sent me an incredibly sweet birthday message, and I would love to have him on my podcast. I would love to have David on my podcast to sit and chat about Gilmore Girls and just kind of shoot the breeze with him. He seemed like an incredibly nice guy to me. He was just very nice. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to send me a message, but he did. And I thought that was very sweet. So politics aside, like, he sent a very nice message, and he was very sweet. And I would love to sit and chat with him or have a beer with him. I really would. He was a very sweet guy. So shout out to David Sutcliffe for sending me a birthday message. Rory and Lorelai go over to Emily and Richard's house, only to find out that Emily and Richard are not there for Friday night dinner. So what do Lorelai and Rory do? They do exactly what I would do. They just pulled a whole Home Alone situation. That's exactly what they did. Ordered some pizza, ate it on paper plates on the carpet floor. I bet you that they invited the maid to eat pizza with them. How much you want to bet that happened? I bet you they did, and I bet that was probably the best night of that maid's life. How has Michelle not been fired yet? And I say that with love because I like Michelle. Ma chère mademoiselle, it is with deepest pride and greatest pleasures that we welcome you here tonight. I say that with love because I like Michel. However, he is not good at the whole customer service thing. Know why? Because he doesn't care. He does not give 2 single F's about you. It is about him. I don't know how he hasn't gotten fired yet. I'll be completely honest with you. And like I said, that's coming from me with love, because I love that character. Because Michel says some things to these customers that I've always wanted to, like when I worked in the customer service industry, I've wanted to say some things to some customers, but I would never say those things to those customers. He actually says them, and he actually does things and behaves in a way that I wish I could have been. Like, I don't know how this man is not fired. I'll be completely honest with you. Shout out to Kirk with his next job, where he played a hot dog, a wiener, as he called it, to help get people to go over to get lunch over at the Dragonfly, because they told Sookie that the best thing to do right now, money financially, is to not serve lunch, temporarily do that. So she hired Kirk to dress up as a wiener and stand outside of Luke's to get that lunch crowd to go over to the Dragonfly. Here's the thing, though. He's dressed up as a wiener. He's talking about wieners. Dragonfly doesn't sell hot dogs at the Dragonfly during lunch. They don't sell hot dogs, which is funny to me. Um, in my interview, when I interviewed Valerie Campbell, she actually had a really funny story about Kirk in this costume, and I don't want to ruin it because it was a really funny story. Actually, no, I don't think she. Oh, that you know what? Her and I actually were talking about it after the podcast, so I don't think it's actually in. I don't know if it's actually in the podcast. I don't remember, but yeah, what she says is that because she was the costumer, she was one of the costumers for the show, and she was getting him ready for this scene, and she has this behind the scenes picture of him in his costume, which is hilarious, and she really wanted him to sing the Oscar Mayer Wiener song. But he was like, "No, I'm not singing that song." You gotta hear her tell that story. I think it's in my podcast. Go check it out on the Bible Kai podcast and look for Valerie Campbell and just listen to the whole thing because the whole thing is a lot of fun. But there is a tidbit about Kirk in this costume in this scene that I think you'll enjoy. Is this your king? Logan is smooth. So when I was on the live, this is how I describe Rory's love interests so far. Dean is very gentlemanly. Jess is a rebel, right? You don't know what's going to happen next. Logan is smooth and calculated. He's a pretentious prick, but he's so calculated. And I respect that. I don't like him. But I respect his smoothness here because he's being smooth. He's being smooth AF with Rory. Norman Mailer, I'm pregnant. That's exactly what she's yelling at Norman Mailer right now, which is also the title of the episode. Norman Mailer, I am pregnant. And then she goes on to hug Norman Mailer. The title of the episode, come to find out, was a spoiler. Norman Mailer, I'm pregnant. That is what Sookie says to Norman Mailer, even though she's been upset with him because all he does is come to the Dragonfly and drink iced tea. We'd later see Norman Mailer and the person interviewing him at Luke's diner ordering iced tea, which I think is hilarious. But congratulations, Sookie, on your pregnancy. I'm happy for you and Jackson. That's really cool. Good for you. I'm happy for Sookie and Jackson. They're just like a good, wholesome couple. They're couples goals. Let's be real. They're couples goals. Who is Ace? Ooh. At first I thought it was Logan, but I think that's too obvious. At first I was like, oh, it's definitely Logan, but I'm like, ooh, I think it's a little too obvious. So my guess is Marty. My guess is that Ace is Marty. That is my guess. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but my guess is Marty. The end of the episode sees Rory visit Christopher to tell Christopher to stay out of Lorelai's life. A lot of people in my live were applauding this. I was on the fence about it. I'll preface my thoughts on this by saying this. Rory is a grown woman, and it's okay for her to be protective of her mother because, of the history between Chris and Lorelai. So it's okay for her to be protective. I get it. But I don't think what she did here was a good thing. That's just me. And I know many of you listening to this may disagree, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly okay. And I already know what kind of reasons you'll give to say differently of what I feel, and that's perfectly okay. I'd love to read them. But my personal opinion is that I'm not a big fan of what Rory did here. I don't know. I get why. But to me that doesn't make it right. She just spent the whole first 3 episodes of the season preaching to Lorelai about being a grown woman and that she shouldn't tell people what to do or how to live their life. And that's exactly what she's doing here. And I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. It would be as if Lorelai went to Jess and said, "Jess, stay out of Rory's life, it's not okay, right? I would have thought the same thing. I would have been like, listen, Rory is growing up. She's grown, so she needs to make those decisions on her own. So I would say that for Rory, and now I'm saying this for Lorelai. Y'all already know how I feel about Chris. I don't hate Chris. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Like I said, if you have a differentiating opinion, that is perfectly understandable, and I get it, and I respect your opinion. Your opinion is 100% valid, whatever it may be. Me personally, I just wasn't a big fan of this moment. That's all. So what do I think of this episode? What do I think of this episode? I give it a 5.5 out of 10. It wasn't bad. It was way better than the previous episode. Way, way better. I give it a 5.5 out of 10. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad episode. Way, way, way better than the previous episode. A lot more interesting. If you enjoyed this, make sure you go follow me hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications bell. That way you'll be notified anytime that I post something here on the YouTube. You'll be the first to know because I post here on YouTube first before I post anywhere else. Before I post it on TikTok, Instagram, I post it here first. And if you like me, be sure to follow me on your favorite social media platforms. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at The Vibe with Kai, where I'm always posting things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. My friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching today. As always, God bless and good vibes.